It's the final game of the regular season, and two sides who've endured a tough year look to close it out with a high-scoring night of entertainment in front of a great crowd. From City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, it's Richmond Kickers and Central Valley Fuego. It's USL League One soccer on ESPN+. I'm Donnie Barnes, and as we look at the current standings, we see how these two teams have had a tough time in 2023. They occupy the bottom two places. For Richmond, it's been 15 winless matches since their last victory on July 1st against Chattanooga. They've conceded 35 goals over those 15 games. Defending has been a constant issue over that stretch. For Fuego, they're winless in 14 games since knocking off Charlotte on July 22nd. They've also struggled to keep the goals out. Their only shutout of the year came in the very first game back on April 1st. One of the individuals who's shown flashes of great talent this year for Richmond is Nil Vinyals. He's been their second leading scorer with 6 goals on the year. Much of their creativity has come through him. He bagged a brace at Knoxville last weekend, including a gorgeous strike from outside the box. Head coach Darren Sawatsky said that when he's in the mood, he's the best midfielder in the league. He's super cerebral and super smart. He's always capable of these moments of magic and brilliance, and we'll see if he can put on one more show for Kickers fans tonight at City Stadium. For Fuego, Alexis Cerritos has been their leading scorer with 9 on the year, and anytime a player has 9 goals going into the final game, you know they're desperate to score at least one more and end the year in double figures, and he's been Fuego's main attacking and finishing threat. Interim head coach Edison Gonzalez has worked to put him in more dangerous positions more constantly, and Cerritos has been very open about double figures being a big target for him in the run-in. This is his final chance to get there tonight. Last time these two sides met, they played to a wildly entertaining 3-3 draw in late August. Edison Gonzalez told us this week, "I don't think it's going to be a 1-0 game. They have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose." We'll see if we see a thriller next.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
So we've decided to sell the house.
Oh, yeah? Who's your realtor?
Well,
home for sale. Over here, guys, over here. Only $10.
Where do I find comps? What is incumbents? How do I escrow?
Here's what I found for Scarecrow.
actually, I've been meaning to ask who you and Paul worked with.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
It's the final procession onto the pitch here at City Stadium in 2023. Richmond Kickers and Central Valley Fuego, presented by UCrops, as we get set for kickoff on this final day of the regular season. And we do so with a look at our starting 11s for these two sides. For the home side, Richmond, to make 3 changes from their 2-2 draw at Knoxville last weekend. They are showing as being in a 3-man back line to start this game. We'll see if they stick to that, but Zaka Moran is in for the injured Nathan Awney, Luke Pavone in for Chris Cole, and Akira Fitzgerald back in goal tonight. Will Palmquist had deputized over the last few matches. Darren Sawatsky, who has just announced his contract picked up, renewed for next year as well. Meanwhile, Edison Gonzalez, interim head coach of Central Valley, lines up his team as such with a 4-3-3 to begin. Paul Lewis remains in goal. They make 2 changes from their 2-1 defeat to Greenville last weekend. Mohamed Dabo and Sergio Chavez are in on the back line because Jesse Williams and Billy Forbes are both away on international duty for this final match of the season for their respective countries. So just about ready to go this evening. City Stadium has seen such great crowds throughout the year. They are hoping, the Kickers are, to reward their home fans with a fine performance in their first victory since July. See them wearing their black kits with the red tinge in the front, the black shorts. Central Valley will be in their white kits for this final match of the year. You hear the Red Army in fine voice already. Our referee is Amin Hadzik. All eyes on him as we await our opening whistle. It's been overcast and drizzly throughout the day, but here we go. Two sides with nothing to lose who are desperate to taste victory again for the first time since July. What kind of caution to the wind chaos might we see over the next 90 minutes? Nil Vignoles, our featured player for Richmond, with the early touch as they attack from right to left in this opening half. It is definitely a caution to the winds kind of formation for Darren Sawatsky, if indeed he's playing three at the back, as shown in their team sheet that was handed in to us about an hour ago. They have not played three in the back, at least on paper, that often this year. Also choosing to move Michael Hornsby up into the forward three on that left side. Darren Sawatsky has tried lots of different things, switching players into different positions late this year as they look to experiment and see what they can build on for next season. Early touch for Matthew Bentley, who would love to get back on the score sheet in this final match of the year. Here's Vignoles now, and you see him immediately draw a double team, looking for a foul there, the home fans, but nothing given. You see the smoke rising from the Red Army section on the far side. Chandler O'Dwyer, who deputized on the back line at one point a few weeks ago, he's been moved further forward. He's much more comfortable as a midfielder. Zakaman. See that smoke from the smoke bombs drifting onto the pitch. Richmond attacking through that red fog. The neat little backheel flick finds Vignoles. Vignoles faced with a wall of white shirts. That's a good ball on the right. Stabbed in low, takes a couple deflections, and then a body goes tumbling over. The claims for a penalty. Referee Amin Hadzik immediately waving those away, and we play on. 2 minutes in, 0-0. It's the first incident and talking point of our match. It is a vocal crowd at City Stadium always. Whether their team is winning or losing, they're always in the ear of the referee in these close confines. Fuego looking for their first spell of possession. Victor Falk has been a consistent presence for them in this difficult year. David Diaz wins the throw on the near side. Let's see that penalty claim a moment ago. It was Michael Hornsby who thought he was bundled over. Maybe some contact, but not enough, in Amin Hadzik's view, to give the penalty. Mohamed Dabo, under not much pressure, able to play out calmly. Now the first attack of the night for Fuego. It feeds down this right side. It's Omar Lemus looking to stand up the cross. It was a good one, but it came off the top of the head and over and out. Zahir Vasquez unable to rise high enough to guide it on frame. So with the goal kick upcoming, we see our Carmax keys to the game. For Richmond, contain those dangerous individuals that Fuego do have. That was what Darren Sawatsky preached this week. He said they're a team that can hurt you if you lose track of those individuals. And for Fuego, simply finish. Interim head coach Edison Gonzalez spoke about that this week, saying we've taken leads, we've played well for long stretches of games, but we've given away far too many goals late. Good ball on the right. That space closes quickly, but Richmond able to keep possession. Look to continue that build down the right side. The overlapping run is a good one. Simon Fitch looking to get the cross in, and it's on goal in the first save of the game for Paul Lewis, who was signed about a month ago to finish out this year between the sticks. Nil Vignoles, his 2 goals last week, closest to open the scoring so far in the opening 5 minutes today. Shouts for a foul there from Central Valley. Zahir Vasquez not awarded a free kick. Richmond able to take possession with Joao Gamiro. It'll be a free kick for Richmond. See their attack a moment ago. So it was good work from Fitch to get to that end line and cut that back, and Vignoles just stepping in front of the defender, able to first time strike it on goal. Paul Lewis well positioned. There's Darren Sawatsky wearing his trademark black. Wearing the jacket today, usually of course in the short sleeve polo with the black pants and black belt. His team matching his outfit tonight. This is good work to slip in Victor Falk between the lines, but Falk unable to connect with Zahir Vasquez up top. Vasquez playing at the top of that 4-3-3. Edison Gonzalez has shown the propensity to switch formations a fair amount since taking over about a month ago. They will often start in the 4-3-3. They'll then move to a back 3 if they're trailing and chasing the game and looking for a goal. He said at times we've almost played a 2-4-4 if we're really going for it late. Take a look at our injury report presented by Bon Secours. Emiliano Terzaghi has been a long-term miss for Richmond over the second half of this year. It's been a nagging issue for him. Dakota Barnathan also out. Ofek Antman has been missing almost the entire year for Fuego, along with Mitchell North, their second goalkeeper, and Viljan Bijev, who's out as a precaution. Here's Gomiro on the attack for Richmond. Good ball for Vignoles. Vignoles dragging into the area with his right foot. It took a deflection and able to be gathered by Paul Lewis. But both Viljan Bijev for Central Valley and Emiliano Terzaghi for Richmond, 2 key figures for their respective sides, and 2 guys who would be playing tonight if this match were determining a playoff spot. Both have battled nagging injuries down the stretch this year, and neither of their sides in contention for the playoffs. Not worth the risk to play them at this point. They'll both try to heal up and prepare for 2024. Beckett Howell, who has staked a claim to that starting left back spot over the last few weeks. Barely 18 years old. One of these young players that Richmond are producing through their new academy that they're really excited about. Howell, who they saw as a center back coming into this year, and they still see him as a center back long term once he grows into his body fully. His dad was a center back. Darren Zawatsky told us dad's about 6'2". Beckett Howell right now still growing into that frame, still adding strength as you see him on the ball now at the bottom of your screen. Playing left back, you get different experiences as a defender. This is a good ball on the right, and there's a punch and a save out into touch for a corner. Paul Lewis using that left hand in good position at that near post. A save you would expect to make, but it's still a save that still had to be made. And Richmond attacking fluidly in these opening 8 minutes, and it'll be the first corner of the match from that far flag. So we'll see that attack again. It was Vignoles again, the architect, maybe a little more on that ball than he would have liked. That forced Luke Pavone slightly wider. Michael Hornsby ready to take this W.W. Nash corner kick. Bending it in with the left, flicked on and in! And the opening goal for Richmond. The Roos jump in front on the last day of school. They have the first goal tonight. Gorgeous ball in. And at that near post, it was Chandler O'Dwyer rising to flick it in. Hornsby in, O'Dwyer back of the net. And Paul Lewis stranded. That has to feel good for Chandler O'Dwyer, who had some tricky moments when he was asked to play on the back line, which is not his normal position or place on the pitch at all. He was game to try it and to try to help his team, but had some tough moments back there a couple months ago. Moved further forward and having a lot more fun with that finish. And so we didn't think we'd have a 0-0 game, and inside 10 minutes, we definitely will not. Free kick for Central Valley and a man staying down for them. That's Alexis Cerritos. Remember, is on 9 goals. He's really hoping to score at least once tonight to get to 10, but feeling the impact of that tackle. Grabbing, it appears, at that right foot or leg area. Cerritos came short for this ball, and it was Gomiro, went right through the back of his ankle. You see that replay, Gomiro a little fortunate, I think, not to pick up a yellow card. Not close to the ball. So Central Valley in a tough spot early. They are capable of scoring goals, but like Richmond in the second half of this year, it's been keeping them out. It's been the main problem. Fuego have conceded the second most goals in the league. That goal from Chandler O'Dwyer, as this will be a throw for Fuego on that far touchline. Take a look at the Red Army, already in a good mood so far tonight. That goal already ensuring that Fuego will not keep a clean sheet this year after the very first game of the season, way back on April 1st, where they beat Chattanooga 1-0. No shutouts in the 31 games that followed in league play. That is one of the reasons they've endured the season they've endured. Silky touch from Matthew Bentley as they build play down that right side again, where most of their attacks have stemmed from so far. Fitch wanted to let that spin out of play. It would not. And a couple heavy challenges. Eventually spins out for a Central Valley throw. Central Valley putting lots of structures in place behind the scenes in recent weeks. As you see one of their players on a knee after that challenge. Neil Vignal's involved, getting a brief conversation from referee Amin Hadzik. Don't think a card was shown. It was Sharif Daye who stayed down briefly. But Central Valley putting lots of structures in place behind the scenes that they say they're not ready to disclose publicly yet, but they're excited about what's to come, even though this season's been difficult. That's a good turn from Hornsby and a neat back heel flick to set up Gomiro, who in turn feeds Bentley, who scuffed his finish. Beautiful flowing move for Richmond. Would have taken a really good finish from Matthew Bentley to steer it maybe inside that far post. Looked like he was aiming for the near side instead. Paul Lewis appeared to have that covered. Whistle with Darren Zawatsky appealing for that. You can see Zawatsky briefly in the background there, having shed that coat. Now back to the short sleeves. Zawatsky told us a few weeks ago this season has been absolutely miserable for him. He said, I'm a winner, I'm used to winning. They have not won nearly as much as he's used to this year. After finishing first in the league last year, of course, and winning the Players' Shield. Plenty of room through midfield here, and then pinged much too far forward. That was a waste. Michael Hornsby overshot on the ball from midfield, but likes the idea and the effort. Central Valley are Going to have to make some kind of tweak to shore up that midfield, perhaps, as Richmond is dominating that area of the pitch so far. These two sides last met in late August. Richmond took a 2-0 lead early in the second half, and then Fuego stormed back to lead 3-2 before Richmond leveled it late. Here goes Vignoles again. They invite him to shoot, and he does, and it's deflected wide. It'll be a corner. It just kept opening up for Neil Vignoles. Nobody stopped him or the ball, so he kept on going. Only a last-moment block prevented that from troubling Paul Lewis. Richmond have already scored from one corner tonight. They've been very dangerous from set pieces this year. The block came from Sergio Chavez in the end. This ensuing corner right on top of goal, and it deflects out. Who off last? It came off a Richmond player. It will be a goal kick. That was Beckett Howell, who was right there in the mix on the doorstep. The defender almost bagging his first professional goal. You see how dangerous Richmond are from corners and set pieces. That's been a feature of their season. You often see a team that's either very good at set pieces or very poor at them. Richmond are somewhat unique in that they've been great at attacking set pieces and then poor at defending them. So their games have featured tons of goals from free kicks, corner kicks, etc., both for and against. They went through a stretch earlier in the second half of this season where at one point they scored 8 out of 10 goals from corner kicks. They're also giving up tons of goals from those same kinds of situations. Darren Sawatsky said this week it's been a matter of matching up in their own box. At times they haven't had enough physicality and size in their own box to defend against bigger players on opposing teams. He said that's something they're probably going to have to address this offseason. Add some more size and physicality to their team to go along with the skill that they like to play with. It's not the best ball out from Akira Fitzgerald. Fuego not able to make the most of it. But again, Fuego looked way out of their game here at City Stadium the last time they were here early in the second half, before they stormed back and looked like they were going to win it before Richmond rescued a 3-3 draw. So lots of time left tonight for Fuego to grow into this game. And that's a neat touch from Omar Lemus, who was able briefly to surge past Hornsby, who then recovered and won the ball back. Hornsby, who assisted on the goal from the corner, all over the pitch in these opening 17 minutes. This is Judgment Day in League One, with other matches around the league kicking off starting in about 35 minutes from now at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock Eastern, as that one drifts out for a goal kick. All kinds of games with huge import and meaning for the final standings. So at 7 o'clock Eastern, it'll be Forward Madison taking on Union Omaha. A game with huge stakes for both sides for different reasons. That ball scooped over the top and falls to David Diaz in the end, and Diaz looks to make progress. Victor Falk lining it up with a left, and Falk sliced it high and wide. Falk, who's nearly scored a couple spectacular free kicks this year and can hit them from distance. Not his best contact that time. So Madison and Omaha, Forward Madison would need to win to ensure making the playoffs. They're in 6th, just above the playoff line. Remember, the top 6 finishers make the postseason. They're 2 points ahead of Tormenta for that final playoff spot. Tormenta would have the tiebreaker. More on that in a moment. Here's Hornsby. Ran into a white shirt. Richmond have it back with Gomiro. And Cerritos tackling back to tackle the ball away. That's good work from Alexis Cerritos. They look to start a counter the other direction. Sharif Daye running into traffic as he tucked into the middle. Able to keep possession and keep it moving for Diaz. Daye looking for the overlapping run of Omar Lemus, but overshooting him. So if Madison were to draw their game today, for example, against Omaha, and end the year on 44 points, and if Tormenta were to win their game at Charlotte, which will also start at 7 o'clock Eastern, Tormenta would have the tiebreaker because they would have more wins on the season than Madison's. They'd both end on 44 points, but Tormenta would claim that 6th and final playoff spot. Nearly turned over on the edge of the box. Victor Falk able to tackle it away in the end, but then left it to a teammate who was trying to leave it to him. It was Falk getting confused with Jose Carrera, and now Gomiro comes the other way for Richmond. Hornsby with Bentley wanting him to play it behind. Now Hornsby does. Is Bentley onside? He's not. And he's frustrated with Hornsby for not playing it sooner. 20 minutes in, 1-0 Richmond. So, big stakes for forward Madison and for Tormenta tonight when their games start at 7 o'clock Eastern. For Union Omaha, of course, they would need to win to assure first place in the Players' Shield, winning the regular season title. Because even though they come into play tonight with a 2-point lead at the top of the table over North Carolina, North Carolina would have the tiebreaker over them if they end level on points. So if Omaha were to draw with Madison and North Carolina were to win, North Carolina would claim the Players' Shield. And then there's Northern Colorado, who are 3 points out of first at the start of tonight. They don't play till 9 o'clock Eastern against Chattanooga. But there's a scenario where Northern Colorado could finish first if they were to win and both Omaha and North Carolina failed to win. All three of those teams could all potentially end level on points at the end of tonight. And it's not just a battle for the top spot in the regular season title, of course. It's a battle for those top 2 spots out of the 3 teams competing for them. Because remember, if you finish second in this league, you get a first-round bye, along with the first-place finisher. If you finish third, you have to play in the first round. So it's a big difference between finishing second and third. Falls to Neil Vignoles, who's commanding that center of the park so far. And galloping forward again, Vignoles with great skill. Ran out of space eventually, but only cleared as far as Zaka Moran, who rebuilds it on the right. The cross looped into the area. Out comes Lewis. He misjudged it, able to punch it far enough. Kept in play then by Diaz. And hammered clear. A little bit frantic for Central Valley in this opening quarter of the game. Down to Akira Fitzgerald then. We'll continue with Richmond into next year and beyond. Signing a contract extension a few weeks ago. He's also the goalkeeping coach for the team, of course. He's already begun his coaching career even as he continues to play. Ninth-minute goal from Chandler O'Dwyer, the difference so far as that ran out of play, and it's a throw for Richmond. Select is the official match ball supplier of USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. It's a free kick for Richmond as Howell was impeded. So you have all those implications with the top 3 teams at the top of the table, and with Madison and Tormenta, who are in 6th and 7th at the start of tonight. And then you have 4th and 5th place, which is still up for grabs. And that makes a difference too, remember. As 4th place hosts that first round playoff game. 5th place has to travel to the 4th place team for that first round. Richmond will have a throw here in front of their supporters section. So Charlotte entering play tonight in 4th, in line for that home game in the first round. And Charlotte's been much better at home, remember, than they've been on the road. One of the best home records in the league, one of the worst road records. So they very much want to play that first round game at home. Greenville, meanwhile, in 5th, 1 point behind them at the start of play. Neil Vignoles was dispossessed, and now a free kick for Central Valley. Red Army taking the opportunity to make themselves heard one more time this year. See that foul again. It's, of course, a Greenswell Growers replay. Vignals just catching Cerritos after the ball was gone. Richmond pressing high. Fuego handling that pretty well. Falk was overrun and dispossessed, and Vignals can come forward again. Vignals cutting onto his right foot. Left foot is stronger for him, of course. Cross in, blocked out by Abdul Razak Cromwell. It'll be a third corner of this opening half for Richmond, 25 minutes in. Already 3 shots on target officially for Richmond. This latest W.W. Nash corner taken once again by Michael Hornsby. This was the same corner from which they scored in the 9th minute, remember. Hornsby back in. O'Dwyer again. It's off the line and then put home. And it's number 2 for Richmond. Simon Fitch this time doubles the lead for the Kickers. And the Red Army's having a party in the first half in this final game of 2023. They've not been able to deal with Michael Hornsby's deliveries. It was O'Dwyer near post again. It was almost a carbon copy of the first goal. This time more bodies on the line to block it initially, but it fell to Fitch. And there was nothing Fuego could do about that. Fitch, from about 3 yards out, had to react fast and did. And he wasn't going to miss from there. 2-0, 26 minutes in. So for now, with still over an hour to go, it's Richmond who look like they might end the year by ending their long winless run. And it's Fuego who look like they might end their season by extending theirs. But remember, it was 2-0 Richmond the last time they played here about a month and a half ago. Fuego tonight do have Cutis Lawal available off the bench. See when we might see him, perhaps early in the second half. He had missed the last couple games after he picked up a head injury in Omaha a few weeks ago. He's been such a big attacking threat for them when he's been healthy and able to be on the pitch. So they do still have some cards to play here, Fuego, but they've not been able to generate much in the first half so far today. That's a bad challenge, and it's going to be the first booking of the night. And the card shown to Matthew Bentley. Alexis Cerritos, who's been on the receiving end of the few of those in this opening half. Able to pop up and continue play, but Bentley, see it again. Coming from a bad angle and clearly catching Cerritos and not close to the ball. Richmond have been shown 2 red cards this year. Central Valley have been shown 7, which has led the league. It's been a problem for them, Central Valley, both this year and last year. Far too many times they've put themselves down to 10 men. They have not been booked so far today, and they've been better in that department over the last couple months because it's been a point of emphasis for interim coach Edison Gonzalez. He said this week that he's been showing cards to his players in training. Anytime there's a bad foul or a bad tackle, he's been showing yellow cards physically, forcing them to change the way they play a bit. He said that was a part of their game that they had to cut out. He's been pleased with that improvement, at least, as that's tackled out by Gumiro. Won by Cromwell. Not a lot of white shirts to aim for forward. Talked about Fuego sometimes committing a lot more bodies forward later in games. That might be something they're forced to do today, which could open things up for Richmond even more later in this game. It's a great tackle. Justin Suko able to take possession and then put it off. Sharif Dye for a throw. 30 minutes gone, 2-0 Richmond. As we remind you to not miss a minute of the action down the stretch here in 2023. Whether your club's on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. It's a towering header won by Sergio Chavez. That was impressive. Central Valley have great individual pieces to build on. You can see the core, the spine of a really good side. Not been able to put it together consistently this year. They intend for next year to be different. Under pressure again here as Hornsby wrestles by the corner flag. Trying to put it off of Chavez, who did well. Chance for Fuego to come forward. This is Diaz. Diaz up by himself for now. Diaz from the end line takes a deflection and spins all the way back for Chandler O'Dwyer. Again, Fuego just with not a lot of bodies committed forward for Diaz to aim for. Good line-splitting pass that was. Joao Gumiro unable to shield it once he turned. Cromwell. It was a good sequence from Abdul Razak Cromwell, and he's still going. Cromwell up against Fitch, who wins the tackle eventually. That's the kind of moment that can spark a team, though. Cromwell with a very good sequence. Now Diaz. Fuego, of course, started out this year under Martin Vasquez, who was their coach for much of last season. Wanted to play a very possession-oriented game. This is Cerritos. Dye thought about a shot now with his left. Sharif Dye, and he pulls one back for Fuego. What a finish. Sharif Dye out of nowhere put Central Valley right back in this match. We told you there'd be goals. Here we go, 2-1. Well, there's interim head coach Edison Gonzalez. He has to be happy to see his team spark to life in the 34th minute. But Sharif Dye, who's been threatening one of those goals in recent weeks, he's come really close with some well-struck balls. Look at him check onto his left and then leather that inside the post and in. That's an inch-perfect finish from outside the box. And it's those little moments that show you what this team's capable of going forward. Okay, technically he was inside the box by the time he hit it, but still, that's a great goal. Sharif Dye, who nearly scored some spectacular goals against Northern Colorado and against Greenville over the last month, denied by some terrific goalkeeper saves, wasn't going to be denied that time. So here it is. Central Valley not able to keep them out. They've conceded twice in the first half an hour. Richmond, who have had very few clean sheets this year themselves and have struggled to hold leads throughout this winless run. they've been pegged back now and their league cut in half. And still about an hour to play. Darren Sawatsky bemoaned about a month ago that although they haven't played well at points and they've made mistakes that have cost them goals, he said he's also felt that his team's been punished at a spectacularly high rate this season. Usually, you're going to give up chances, no matter how good you are as a defensive unit. You can't shut down everything. And most chances, let's face it, at any level of soccer, even at the highest level of soccer, even Premier League strikers in England miss the majority of chances that they get. Richmond have felt, and I think they believe that their internal metrics have borne out, that they have conceded a higher rate of chances that have turned into goals than you would expect. Here they come again now, Central Valley looking to equalize as it stood up softly in an easy take for Fitzgerald. Already much more threat for Fuego following that goal. So just to finish the thought from Richmond, again, Darren Sawatsky not making any excuses. He knows it's not been a good season from them. They intend to be much better going forward, but they've gone through stretches this year where they felt like the soccer gods have been a little harsh as well. It's been a combination of things. Richmond establishing an academy, taking over an academy earlier this year, and they're excited about that. They've already started to churn prospects out of that they hope to then develop and have see more playing time with their first team, the way Beckett Howell is tonight, which they then hope to sell on to higher leagues around the world and use those profits from those sales to reinvest back in their team. So that's how they're going to generate the funds to rejuvenate this squad and improve over time. Darren Sawatsky stresses that his team does not have a big budget. The money that they get from playoff sales, or from player sales, I should say, is how they're going to finance bigger signings and improvements. In fact, he said, please say it on the broadcast. We are a selling team. He said, but that's a good thing. We want to help players move on to higher levels, achieve their goals. We've had a few teenagers debut late this season and show well in the opportunities that they've gotten. They took a 2-goal lead with Chandler O'Dwyer scoring direct from a corner in the 9th minute, and then Simon Fitch scoring on the secondary action from a corner in the 26th before Sharif Dye pulled one back in the 33rd with a lightning bolt with his left foot. Much more possession for Fuego now, as they've settled into the game a bit more. This is the kind of ball possession that we saw a lot under Martin Vasquez in 2022 and early 23 from Fuego, as Falk tries to flick that along, but didn't have a teammate on the end of it. At times, Fuego struggled to turn that ball possession into meaningful chances. They've been better at that in the second half of this year. So that was put straight out by Fitzgerald under some pressure. Taken quickly by Falk. Along the end line, that's kept in play. Lemus making himself available. Kept by Diaz instead. Work that half yard of space. Now Lemus does whip it in, and Fitzgerald with another simple take. 5 years with the club, Akira Fitzgerald. He's made Richmond his home. An interesting dynamic between he and Will Palmquist going forward if Palmquist decides to stay with the club. Palmquist, who had been in goal for the last few weeks, done well. Much younger goalkeeper. Darren Sawatsky said this week that all he would say is that they definitely want to keep Palmquist as well. .40 minutes into the final 5 of this first half. Cerritos hasn't had too many sniffs in this opening half. Cromwell. Sergio Chavez. Lots of space in the midfield for both sides now. Will that reach Lemus? It does. And then Diaz and Lemus pulled it all the way across. Well, that was an opportunity there for Omar Lemus to take it on himself, perhaps. Cromwell now trying to clip it into Cerritos' path. That didn't work out. Bentley wanted to take it down off his chest. He lost possession. Darren Sawatsky seemed to think he was perhaps fouled. It's another classy touch from Cromwell. Dye backheeled for Cromwell. It's Abdul Razak Cromwell. It deflects in, and it's 2-2. And after Richmond dominated the first 25 minutes, it's Fuego who have hit back, and they're level before halftime. It might be Cromwell's goal. We'll see who it deflected off last. But it's everything we expected and more. What a back heel from Dye, who's been phenomenal. Yeah, it deflected off a Richmond player. That was Suko, whose foot it came off last. The question for the official scorer will be, was that shot on target? I don't think so when you see that replay. Suko looked like he made contact on the edge of the 6-yard box, so I think that'll be an own goal. But either way, it was Cromwell making things happen again along with Sharif Dye. And those two have dragged Fuego back into this match. Well, for Richmond, plenty of time for them to turn this back in their favor, of course, but it has to be a familiar feeling. They have led a number of times during this winless run. They've taken the lead in 7 of those 15 games. Not been able to hang on to any of them, so this would be 8 out of 16 if they were not to win again tonight. Is there time for another goal before the end of this first half? Here comes Beckett Howell now from a great ball down the left side. It's still Howell on his feet, and Howell's cross, it comes all the way through to Fitch, and he goes down. That's a penalty. And Richmond will have a chance to take the lead back before halftime. Big protest from Paul Lewis and Fuego. But Amin Hodzik's not having it. It'll be a spot kick for the Kickers. It was Luke Pavone who it fell to in the end, carrying it out wide. It was reckless from Lewis. He doesn't think he made contact, and maybe he didn't. Let's see. There's some contact. There's not a lot, but it's probably enough. And Lewis didn't need to go sliding in there. The touch from Pavone was carrying it wide. He was looking for it, but that's what you'd expect a striker to do in that situation. And so Nil Vignals, who scored from a penalty last week, will step up again in the 45th minute. Nil Vignoles smoothly finishes, and it's Richmond's lead again. We asked for chaos. We're getting exactly that. 5 goals already, and it's not even halftime. And it's 7 on the year for Nil Vignoles, as he gave Lewis the eyes and sent him the wrong way. Nil Vignoles, our player to watch prior to the game. There's his moment, and he might have more. 3 goals in his last 2 games now. So we're going to have an additional 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. And so now it's Fuego's turn to feel that familiar sense of frustration, just at a moment where they were in the ascendancy, where they had pulled 2 goals back to level it. They would have wanted to get to halftime at 2-2 and maintain that momentum. Now they face an uphill climb again. It is certainly a possible climb. After we had a 3-3 between these two a month and a half ago, we might get more than that this time. Remember, Fuego had to change out both their center backs for this match, with their 2 starting center backs last week, both away on international duty this week, Jesse Williams and Billy Forbes. This will be a late free kick for Fuego into the final 20 seconds or so this opening half. Zaka Moran committing the foul. Richmond also reshuffling their back line a bit. Shown at times for both teams. Victor Falk, last attack of the first half. Pinged into the middle, chance, and put wide. David Diaz, can't believe he didn't equalize. Can't believe he didn't have the 6th goal of this first half, which comes to an end in fitting fashion. 5 goals, tons of incident, and 3-2 Richmond at the break. There might be nothing at stake in the standings for these two sides, but they are both determined to end the year with a win, something they haven't tasted in 3 months. And right now it's Richmond in line for that, with still a lot left to happen in the second 45 minutes. Coming up at halftime, we will see scores and upcoming games from around the rest of the league. Judgment Day in League One. It's a fun day in Richmond so far. It's Richmond Kickers 3. It's Central Valley Fuego FC 2. More next.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with the provider today.
Hi, I'm Megan Mack, president of Prospect Blue.
And I'm Jess Barnes, Director of Business Development at Prospect Blue.
Prospect Blue is a staffing and recruiting firm headquartered right here in Richmond, Virginia. We serve the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond.
With the labor market experiencing historic shortages, Prospect Blue is here to help companies attract and retain key talent.
With strong relationships in the corporate, financial, legal, and medical fields, we are in a unique position to connect employers with job seekers.
Halftime at City Stadium, great first half. Meanwhile, it's been a great season in USL League One. So many highlights, so many memorable things that have happened. And with a look back at some of the most memorable moments this year, here is Mark Schoenster.
It's only natural that we go back and hit the big talking points from across the season. Starting March 18th, we saw the debut of our two new clubs this season in a rivalry opener.
Between them, we were treated to an exciting 2-1 victory in front of an energized home crowd as one Knoxville and Lexington SC were immediately introduced to the chaos and competitive nature of this wonderful league. It would be a familiar face, though, in League One that secured the win. Jake Keegan getting it done. But in the end of the day, though, both teams would show their quality in this game and prove that they would belong in this league throughout the entirety of the season. So, welcome additions to USL League One, Lexington and Knoxville. Now let's talk records. Never before had a USL League One player scored 4 goals in a single match, but that changed on June 21st. You'd think it'd be the likes of Emiliano Terzaghi, Keziah Sterling, or maybe even Trevor Ammon, but it's instead the rookie Liam McKinnon, who not only accomplishes this feat, but also scores the fastest hat trick in league history, tallying 3 goals by the 22nd minute. It was a 13-minute window in which he superbly gashed the net with his clean finishes time and time again. What an accomplishment for him. Now, the next topic of conversation is less of a statistical feat, but a much more important and inspiring accomplishment. After being diagnosed with testicular cancer, Irvin Parra, a USL scoring savant, not only overcame this massive challenge, but returned to the soccer pitch this season. It cannot be overstated how awesome this guy is for the fight and determination that he has demonstrated this year. So congratulations to him, his family, Northern Colorado Hailstorm. We're all in awe at this absolute warrior of a player. It was just a fantastic evening when he was able to cross that line and get back up onto the pitch. And boy, does he have some impressive teammates. We all saw the potential of Trevor Ammon last season, but even then, this is a meteoric rise that still surpassed all expectations, both outside and within the building. Trevor has become a pinpoint finisher, racking up goal after goal, easily cruising by Terzaghi's previous single-season record of 18, with 23 goals going into the final week of the regular season. What a year for Trevor and this Hailstorm attack. They've been kicking on all cylinders. Arthur Rogers has a little bit to thank for it, but it also hasn't just been the year of the striker. The year of the goalkeeper has also arisen. Austin Pack of Charlotte has done the complete opposite, which is denying more goals than any other keeper has in a single season. Akira Fitzgerald previously held the mark with 106 saves in a year, but Pack has now punched, deflected, bodied, rejected, etc. 115 shots and counting coming into decision day. He got out to a hot start early in the season and never looked back in that category, carrying a nearly 30-save lead over second place in the saves category going into the final weekend. Now, individual accomplishments are great, but nothing feels better than when the team is winning, and that's practically all Union Omaha has done in the second half of the season, dismantling Lansing's record 6-game win streak with a 10-game streak of their own. They still haven't lost a game since doing that. 13 games unbeaten going into week 31, and due to that run, they now have 62 points, a number no other League One team has ever reached. The craziest part about all of it is they still haven't clinched the Players' Shield going into the final match. But it is 4 years and 4 trips to the playoffs for these Owls, a number that can only be bested by the Greenville Triumph. The league has been around for 5 years, and every year, John Harkes and his players have been good enough for postseason play. So congrats to them. Congrats to all the previously mentioned teams and players. It's been fun recapping this year, but it's not over. More fun this season to come and more content to come on the other side of this break. We'll step aside. Now this from the USL.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
(3-2) Richmond over Central Valley as we continue our Simplicity halftime show with news and notes from around USL League One. Lots going on around the league as we head towards the playoffs this year. Atez Diouf, the second highest scoring season by a Senegalese player in modern American pro soccer history. Congratulations, Atez Diouf, the player of the month. Ayman Zayed, the coach of the month, a former League One forward, of course. Fourth coach to earn the honor twice in a single season. Northern Colorado still in contention for that top spot here on this Judgment Day, the final week of the regular season. And Lexington announcing a plan to build a 5,000-seat soccer-specific stadium, completion targeted for August of next year. Really exciting news out of Lexington. Lexington Sporting Club not going to make the playoffs this year, but still off to a really strong start in their expansion club life. Team of the week from week 30. Will Palmquist named as goalkeeper of the week. Dion Akoff, several Union Omaha players in there. Neil Vignoles also amongst the team of the week for his 2-goal effort at Knoxville. Steven Dos Santos was the player of the week for week number 30. Upcoming schedule and tons of big matches kicking off right about now. Forward Madison, Union Omaha. Again, Omaha could win the regular season, the Players' Shield, if they win that game. Forward Madison need to win to assure themselves of making the playoffs. Greenville trying to move into 4th place in a home slot in the first round if they beat Lexington tonight. And if Charlotte fail to beat Tormenta, of course, need to win that game to have a chance at leaping Forward Madison and making the playoffs. Northern Colorado home to Chattanooga later tonight at 9 Eastern. North Carolina FC, they could win the Players' Shield if they win, and Omaha do not tonight. Here's the live bracket for the USL League One playoffs. This is as things currently stand. This could change a lot by the end of the night, but right now it would be Greenville and Charlotte in the first round. At Charlotte, it would be Northern Colorado hosting Forward Madison, with Union Omaha and North Carolina awaiting after their first round byes to host the semifinal games. We'll see how things look in about 3 hours from now. In just a moment, we'll show you highlights from this action-packed first half and get you set for half number 2. It'll be the final half for these two teams. Will it be as entertaining as the first 45? Find out next.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
So we've decided to sell the house.
Oh, yeah? Who's your realtor?
Well,
it's over here, guys, over here. Only $10.
Where do I find comps? What is incumbents? How do I escrow?
Here's what I found for Scarecrow.
actually, I've been meaning to ask who you and Paul worked with.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with a provider today.
Plenty of highlights from that great first half between Richmond and Central Valley Fuego. It started in the 9th minute. This early corner for Richmond, straight into the back of the net from Chandler O'Dwyer. The corner taken by Matthew Hornsby, a perfect delivery to that front stick, and O'Dwyer able to flick it home. And if you thought this is the same thing in the 26th minute, it's not. This time it was finished by Simon Fitch, but almost a carbon copy on the front end. It's O'Dwyer getting his head to it, cleared off the line, but it fell to Fitch, who hammered it home. And Richmond were cruising, and then suddenly they weren't, because Sharif Dye in the 33rd with an excellent goal. Look at him fake with his right, chop it onto his left, and kiss it off the inside of that post. 2-1. And suddenly Fuego were alive, and 9 minutes later they would equalize. This was given as an own goal. Justin Suko made contact with it last, but Abdul Razak Cromwell combining with Sharif Dye. It was Cromwell who took the shot. It appeared it was headed wide, so that's why it's been given as an own goal. But then just a few minutes later, a penalty awarded, which Neil Vignoles smoothly scored after sending the keeper the wrong way. And so 3-2 Richmond as we get set for the second half. They outshot Fuego 10-4 in the first half, had 55% of the possession. Just the one yellow card. These are two sides that have been shown quite a few cards this year, but just the one to Matthew Bentley, who was on a caution to begin the second half. So, can the second half live up to what we saw in the first half? Well, again, these are two teams that figure they might as well go for it tonight. They have nothing to lose. They're not going to make the playoffs, and both desperately want to end their respective long winless runs to end 2023. So it'll be Fuego who will get us back underway in the white kits. They will attack from right to left in this second half as Amin Hadzik blows his whistle again. And here we go for the final half of soccer for these two clubs in 2023. Cromwell immediately puts Fuego on the attack with a gorgeous ball to David Diaz. Fuego, who didn't have a ton of attacking time until they scored in the 33rd minute. We saw the individual quality and danger that they pose. Meanwhile, Richmond have made 2 changes at halftime. More on that after this early cross. Right into the middle of the box. It falls to Cerritos. Didn't control it cleanly. Now Dye. Sharif Dye scores his second of the match and levels right away after halftime. 5 goals in the first half and another one in the first minute of the second half. And Sharif Dye swan dives in front of his teammates. What a night. 3-3. And still 45 minutes to go. It just was never dealt with by Richmond as it bounced all the way through their box. That's a cardinal sin. You can't let that happen. But boy, did Dye still have a lot to do. And didn't he do it brilliantly? Look at that finish. Top right corner. Curled deliciously out of Akira Fitzgerald's reach. And after we wondered whether the second half could live up to the first, Sharif Dye had an immediate answer. So, did I mention Richmond made 2 changes at halftime? They did. Landon Johnson and Nicholas Simmons have both come on. Meanwhile, the game's changed again already. More on those subs if we can. Meanwhile, Dye looking for the hat trick. That's on frame. It was ambitious, but you can't blame him. quite a way to end your year with a hat trick. He has 2 already. So Landon Johnson and Nicholas Simmons have come on for Richmond for Luke Pavone and Matthew Bentley. Johnson and Simmons, 2 academy talents. 2 of those impressive youngsters that we talked about in the first half who have made an impression late this year. As Darren Sawatsky has given more young players an opportunity. That's handball. Not a good start to the second half for Richmond. They've been caught sleeping coming out of the break. After such a great showing, that's not Sharif Daye's best touch. Richmond will try to settle themselves. So now it's anyone's again. Richmond winless since July 1st, Fuego since July 22nd. Neither will look to settle for a draw tonight, you wouldn't think. So they've already matched their 3-3 result from late August at this same venue. Daye commits that foul. Remember, Fuego still have Qudus Lawal available off the bench to join their attack for the stretch run of this match. And Lawal's a guy who has changed the whole look of their team when he has been available, which hasn't been much this year, but we'll see if and when we see him later. Meanwhile, a long run forward as that's touched toward the path of Nicholas Simmons. Fuego do enough to deal with that. It's good work by Cerritos in traffic to take that down under duress, and then the free kick is given against Fuego. Cerritos had thought he was fouled before then. So now it's Richmond with their first attack of the half, and it's Fitch. And Landon Johnson, who just signed his first pro contract earlier this week. He'd been on an academy contract earlier this year. Abdul Razak Cromwell, who robbed him, and switches it intelligently out to the right for David Diaz, who has space over there. Ball spins away from Victor Falk, who's frustrated by that fact. So 5 minutes into the second half. Dwyer, Fitch, and Vignoles for Richmond. Daye, Suko, and Daye for Central Valley. If you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access, Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern, plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. Hear the atmosphere at City Stadium. It's been great throughout the year. Richmond's attendance has been up this season despite the downturn in their club's fortunes in the standings. Here comes Central Valley now. It was not the best ball into the mix, and Fitzgerald able to gather up. Darren Sawatsky paid tribute to the fan support his team have received this week. He also said there's pressure in that. He said they're not happy with not being in the playoffs, which you want. He said they got a taste of winning and they don't like this, and they're letting us know we're going to need to win to keep these crowds. He said everything's a build towards the future, including that. And the team really appreciate the support they've continued to have throughout the year. This historic venue that's been around for about a century. All those other games underway, except for Northern Colorado and Chattanooga, of course, who don't start till 9 Eastern out in Windsor, Colorado. But forward Madison Union Omaha, North Carolina at 1 Knoxville, Greenville Triumph, and Lexington, Charlotte Independence, and Tormenta. Those are all underway, all goalless about 10 minutes in. Keep you posted throughout the second half on updates from those 4 matches. Of course, you can watch Northern Colorado and Chattanooga at 9 Eastern, also on ESPN+. Justin Suko. This is neat combination play down the right, and it finds the feet of Nicholas Simmons, whose low cross was almost turned home by Landon Johnson. Just had it deflected, and the venom taken out of it by Sergio Chavez, who was tight to him. Otherwise, Johnson might have put Richmond back in the lead. Here's the kickers sparking to life now for the first time in the second half. It's Vinyals, unable to keep possession under duress from Jose Carrera. He's been the captain and leader of this team, and a guy that Edison Gonzalez paid tribute to this week, saying he's one of the players who's helped keep this team together despite the difficult season it's been. Simon Fitch neatly eludes Sharif Dye. Gomiro does well. Gomiro trying to slice it down that left wing. And then Vinyals didn't get his angles right, and it's a throw for Fuego. Lots of interesting games in USL Championship in this final week of the regular season as well. Detroit City drawing with Pittsburgh. Later tonight, Louisville City taking on Tampa Bay. Louisville have a chance now to gain a first-round home playoff match if they were to win that game and results went their way. Other results have gone their way, I should say, to give them that opportunity if they win against Tampa Bay tonight. Sacramento Republic against Miami FC out west at 10 Eastern. That's an intriguing one. Meanwhile, Landon Johnson put out a play for a throw for Richmond. Here's Fitch with the cross as Richmond go in search of a third lead in the game. Hornsby volleys it back. That's going to stick and stay in play. Another cross sprayed in and put out. That'll be a corner. Beckett Howell's been a good presence down that left side, getting forward in the attack a fair amount. Looks older than 18. First corner of the second half for Richmond. And remember, they scored from 2 corners in the first half. Fuego had big difficulty containing them from these set pieces. This one swung to the near post, and this time defended by Sergio Chavez. They were not going to allow that near post run this time. Back into the mix it comes, and again solidly thumped away. And Dye takes down nicely and feeds David Diaz, who can counter, but didn't have a lot of numbers in support. Those other 4 matches in progress, all about 15 minutes in, still goalless across the board. As things currently stand, Union Omaha still perhaps in line for the Players' Shield, although if they draw with Madison, that leaves the door open for North Carolina. If they were to win, they would have the tiebreaker. Here come the kickers now. Turning on the ball was Michael Hornsby, surrounded by white shirts, but able to keep possession. Hornsby finds a pocket of space again. Still Michael Hornsby, and then Vignoles. 3 white shirts around him, and finally crowded out. Crowded off the ball, but only cleared as far as Gomiro. Fitch, bad touch. And throw for Central Valley. Cromwell with a long ball forward. This is 1-on-2. And Zahir Vasquez does well to bring Falk into the play. Falk spreads it on the right. David Diaz going to chop back onto his left foot. But in the way, it was Zaka Moran, and Diaz fouls him. Moran gets things restarted quickly. Vignoles. Landon Johnson sees the run of Simmons. Simmons wanted to return it to Johnson. Instead finds Vignoles. Simmons thought about shooting, does shoot, and he wasn't far away. Well, Nicholas Simmons signed an academy contract in July. He's the son of a former Richmond kicker, Gregory Simmons, who also played for the Jamaican national team. Sister Cameron played for the Jamaica women's team at the World Cup this year. So a family with deep ties to both Jamaica and Richmond. Nicholas Simmons flashing that one over the bar. Almost an hour in, 3-3. Looks like Fuego are maybe getting ready to make a change. That looked like Cutis Lawal. Has his warm-up stuff off. He's ready to come in soon. Here's Sharif Dye. 2 goals so far. Shielded off to Falk. David Diaz. Diaz cross. Had to be cleared by Fitch and was. Got the best ball back in, and Richmond can deal with that. Simmons trying to play target man. Not able to keep possession. "60 minutes, 6 goals so far. Mohamed Dabo. Sharif Dye. Cromwell was casually headed for the overlap. Now it is Cromwell. His near post cross only as far as Dye, who couldn't control it the way he would have liked. Otherwise, he would have had a chance at his hat trick. Still might. Diaz put into the mix and flicked across the face of that 6-yard box. Nobody was crashing in at that back post. Taken back by Falk. No foul, play on. And Cromwell and Cerritos. And Cerritos is fouled. Free kick for Fuego in a dangerous spot. Zaka Moran disagrees. We've only had the one booking tonight, and that was to Matthew Bentley in the first half. Bentley was subbed at halftime, so nobody on the pitch currently on a yellow. Now, Moran does come in from the side, does appear to get the ball as well. It's a tricky one. So, Victor Falk around this. So is Cromwell. Both can hit them from here. Falk would be with his right, Cromwell with the left. It is Victor Falk, and Falk puts it wide. Pulled it a bit too far, wide of that near post, and a goal kick. Meanwhile, Fuego looking for their first lead of the game. Trying to cross it was Zahir Vasquez, had too many black shirts in the way. But it's Fuego looking likelier to grab that next goal right now. Vinyals takes it away crucially from Dye, and then Dye chops him down, and Dye goes into the book. So Dye with 2 goals and 1 yellow card now.
That's a yellow card to Central Valley's number 24, Sheriff Dye.
Maybe that's the end of the night as he goes down following that. I don't know if he's feeling something in his right foot after he made contact with Vinyals with that.
This is your last call for alcohol and beverages. All sales stop after the 70th minute.
It'd be a shame for him to be forced off early since he's on 2 goals right now. I'm sure he would love to stay on and look for that hat trick. Tricky decisions for head coaches this time of the year, no matter what situation your team's in. If your team's already assured of being in the playoffs next week, it's always a tough call on how much do you play your main starters that last week of the regular season, how much do you rest them, how sharp do you try to keep them for that playoff round the next week, how much do you risk injury to them. When you're out of the playoffs, like Central Valley are, how much opportunity do you give your key guys to pile up as many numbers as they can in that final game? But it looks like that will be the end of the night and the end of the season for Sharif Dye. And a great close to 2023 for him with 2 excellent goals tonight. So a double sub made by Central Valley then, with Dye obviously making way, along with David Diaz. Cutis Lawal does come on as we expected, along with Harold Hansen. So it's Cutis Lawal's first appearance since that game several weeks ago at Omaha. Meanwhile, that's turned over to Richmond, and here they come as it's crossed all the way to that back post. Can it be kept in play? It is. Michael Hornsby wanted to stand it back up, now does. And volleyed clear towards Cerritos, who looks to hold it up and keep play and does well. Back come Richmond as Fitch intercepts. Suddenly it's Richmond with the initiative again. Gomiro. Johnson able to skip past Cerritos. Still Landon Johnson by the end line. His cross overhit a bit and out for a throw on the other side.
The 3-notch Uncool Happy Hour featuring $4 non-alcoholic ACI beer starts at 7 with
Landon Johnson looking dangerous on that right side of the attacking trio right now for Richmond. Able to beat players one-on-one, which you need from a wide forward. Cliched end product, not quite there that time. Still over a quarter of this match remaining. Cerritos, who's still stuck on 9 goals. He doesn't need reminding. Still be a strong year from him, regardless of whether he scores a 10th or not tonight. Scrappy sequence results in a Richmond throw. We're still without a goal in those other 4 games in progress. So everything as it was at the start of the night so far in those top 6 places. Vinyals. Fitch. Landon Johnson kept that in play. And it might fall to Gomiro, but Falk was in the way. It's great work from Landon Johnson. Excellent closing speed to get to that ball and keep it in. Fuego's turn to attack. That's a nice step from Harold Hansen. And Hansen interchanging with Lawal. Cutis Lawal, will that stay in play? No. Lawal scored 2 goals earlier this year. And he was briefly with the team. And then signed to a new contract about a month ago, a 3-year contract, which is an impressive statement of intent from Central Valley. Shortly after signing that new deal, suffered that head injury at Omaha. Had to miss a little bit of time, which was a shame because in the first half of that Omaha game, he was terrific. Almost scored 3 goals. Changed the whole look and feel of their team. Added such a different dimension to their attack. Meanwhile, here's Zahir Vasquez, looking to cut to the end line against Simon Fitch, who does well to prevent the cross for now. Cromwell. Richmond are about to make a change as Ethan Vanacore Decker is going to come on for Joel Gumiro at the next dead ball. Carrera. Dabo stared down by Simmons, who was daring him to play that square ball. Dabo knew better. This is neatly worked by Central Valley. Cromwell and Cerritos. The wall posting up in the box, hoping for that ball in. It's Cromwell again. Cromwell steps to his left and delivers a good ball. Back post and stabbed home. And Fuego have their first lead of the night. Harold Hansen off the bench, onto the score sheet. And Fuego into the lead as they look to end the year with their first win in 3 months. Again, Richmond not able to deal with a bouncing ball that goes all the way to the back stick, and Harold Hansen able to react quickest. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 3 bounces, and Harold Hansen just gets the toe on it. Fitzgerald got a fingertip, but couldn't direct it around that post. And Hansen celebrates in front of the Red Army. So Richmond have made that change. And now for the first time tonight, they'll have to make a comeback. Ethan Vanacore Decker on, Joel Gumiro off. And the Kickers, who led 2-0 and 3-2, trail 4-3 with 20 minutes to go. So now it's Fuego's turn to try to hold the lead. We've talked about, if you've watched this entire match, if you're a fan of either of these two teams, you're probably tired of us talking about how much difficulty both these teams have had at holding leads this year, but it has been a main storyline for both these clubs. So now it's Richmond playing from behind. And it's Fitch. And it's first timed over the bar. Good chance for Landon Johnson, who couldn't quite keep it down. A sign that Richmond are far from out of this. And from Fuego's perspective, that was way too easy. Look at the space Johnson has. There's 3 yards either side of him there.
Fans, check your phones to see if you want a raffle prize.
Had more time than he thought. Well, if this match is fun to watch, you can play eFootball because eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team. Play as your favorite USL Championship club, free to play. Download now. This will be a Richmond throw by midfield. If you're just joining us, you missed a lot. Chandler O'Dwyer in the 9th minute gave Richmond the lead. Simon Fitch doubled it in the 26th. Then Fuego pulling one back in the 33rd through Sharif Dye. Then a Justin Suko own goal in the 42nd made it 2-2. Neil Vignals gave Richmond the lead again just before halftime with a penalty kick in the 45th. But right out of the break, Sharif Dye in the 46th minute equalized gorgeously. And then moments ago, this guy, Harold Hansen, scoring in the 70th minute to give Fuego this 4-3 advantage. And Hansen with the overlap and put back into the mix, deflected. Apparently that went out of play as it spun across the end line while in the air. So a goal kick for Richmond. Both these teams have seen so many games turn on a dime, and they appear to be in control. Richmond were in full control for the first half hour, and appeared to be in control again before halftime. Now it's Fuego who would love to control the final 16 minutes plus. Richmond have already had one good chance to equalize since falling behind, and you figure they might have at least one or two more. Curtis Lawal chasing that, but Suko mopping up for Richmond.
Fans tonight's attendance, 4,035.
Here the attendance tonight, 4,035 at City Stadium. We've had a couple crowds of around 6,000 this year. Still a very strong showing for a very proud and historic American soccer club. Richmond, with over 30 years of history, the joint longest continuously tenured still in existence club in the U.S. right now, along with Charleston Battery. Club that won the Players' Shield and the regular season title last year before falling agonizingly in the semifinal in the playoffs. Short of their usual expectations this year. Still time to rescue something tonight. Still time, of course, for Central Valley to grab a 5th. What would be Central Valley's 6th win of the year. Smooth acceleration from Zahir Vasquez. Curtis Lawal, neat backheel flick. Cerritos and Falk. This is the kind of silky interplay that Fuego have been capable of throughout the year. When they play like this, it's hard to see how they've only accumulated 20 points this season, as Lawal spins and is fouled, and a free kick for Fuego. Chandler O'Dwyer called for the foul, felt he got a stray arm to the face. Meanwhile, there has been a goal on our out-of-town scoreboard. North Carolina FC on the board against 1 Knoxville. They lead 1-0 in the 34th minute. Right now, it's still goalless between Forward Madison and Union Omaha. So as things currently stand, NCFC would be winning the regular season. Here's the replay of that foul. The wall turn against O'Dwyer, who's being examined. The goal for North Carolina FC, scored by Gustavo Fernandez in the 30th minute. 1 Knoxville, one of the stingiest defenses in the league this year, remember, so scoring against them is a feat. 1 Knoxville not going to make the playoffs, but it's mainly because they haven't been able to score enough. Preventing goals hasn't been the issue for them. They've failed to prevent one so far tonight. Here it's Victor Falk from the ensuing free kick. Richmond temporarily playing with 10 as O'Dwyer is tended to on the touchline. Cromwell and Falk thought Cerritos was going to make a run to the corner. backward by Cromwell. That put Dabo under some duress, but Dabo handled it smoothly. Cromwell continues to be excellent tonight. Wall able to play that into the path of Cerritos. Falk wanted it. Cerritos has it instead. Cromwell, all kinds of space for Harold Hansen now. Another cross stood up, and Lawal almost able to hook it around Suko. Suko did enough. It's all Central Valley right now, though. Richmond chasing the game, but not able to get a hold of the ball. Both these teams prefer to possess. All the possession lately has been for Fuego, but they turn it over here. And Nil Vinyals hasn't had many chances to gallop forward in the second half, but spreads it to Landon Johnson. And Johnson's low ball stabbed away. Fuego able to hammer it clear, and that's one for Cutis Lawal to chase. He'll track it down by the touchline. Lawal waiting for help to arrive. Cerritos is arriving. It's Hansen as well. Cutis Lawal. And hooked wide in the end by Zahir Vasquez. Richmond making a double change now. Gabe Cox and Jake Meekum are coming on. Simon Fitch is coming off.
Into the match for Richmond, number 16, Jake Meekum.
Michael Hornsby also removed. So Cox and Meekum for Hornsby and Fitch. Jake Meekum a defender, Gabe Cox generally a midfielder. 10 minutes plus stoppage time approximately remaining. Richmond shouting for handball, nothing given. Cerritos holds it up well. Falk, not in a huge hurry. Hansen. And Lawal trying to spin. Looking to slip it into Hansen's path. And Hansen keeps it alive, and it's put on target by Zahir Vasquez, but not with a lot behind it. I believe that's just the second save of the night. Akira Fitzgerald behind that one. Here come Richmond now. Not many attacks for them in the second half. Down that left side, it's Beckett Howell. Who did that deflect off last? It came off him. It's a goal kick. Well defended. Howell's motored up and down that left flank. Dan Sawatsky talking this week about how playing left back, even when you're normally a young center back, can help your development quite a bit. You have to cover a lot more ground. You're involved in a lot more one-on-one defending. So it develops your overall game. I'm excited to see Howell continue to develop. And Sawatsky said he's been starting there lately because he's played well and he's deserved it. This is Jake Meekum. Good switch to the far side, taken down deftly by Gabe Cox. And Cox swings it into the area. Falls to Meekum again. Meekum trying to dance between white shirts, but not able to find the next option. And the Wall looks to body up against Chandler O'Dwyer. And the Wall using that size for a moment before being dispossessed. 7 minutes plus stoppage time left in both these sides' seasons. Chested down by Johnson. Spread to Meekum. Play to Vignals. Johnson looking to pick across. And punched away by Lewis. Not very far. And volleyed by Cox. Blocked crucially by Omar Lemus. Out for a corner. That looked like it was headed on frame from Gabe Cox. Another young academy player. Now a W.W. Nash corner kick taken by Vignals quickly. Vignals toward the near post, and it bounces all the way through. It's 4-4. It's another corner kick goal. It might be an Olympico. That might be Vignals. It might have come off a Fuego player as well. We'll have to wait for the official scoring. 84 minutes gone, 4-4. And it takes another twist. Who got the last touch? I'm not sure anybody did. Maybe Zahir Vasquez. Let's see if we can see here. I don't know. That might be Neil Vignals' goal. And if so, that's an Olympico, which you don't see very often, directly from a corner. Waiting to see if the public address announcer would say who they're giving it to for now. I'm not sure he knows yet. We'll wait for the official scoring, but that might be Vignals, who's right back on the ball and plays it out toward Howell. So it's Central Valley's turn to see another late lead slip away. Can they get it back? Harold Hansen with a terrific run for a while, but then he commits the foul. 5 minutes left for somebody to find another winner. Apparently that goal is being given as an own goal for now, but they've not said who's being charged with it. Another collision, free kick for Central Valley. It's been every bit as frantic and scrappy and chaotic and entertaining as we thought it might be. And now, Fuego are in again. Fuego have the lead again. 5-4. Incredible. Stupendous. Baffling. Central Valley, Victor Falk, 5.
Central Valley goal scorer number 8, Victor Falk.
Kira Fitzgerald can only stand in bemusement. 4 minutes plus stoppage time left. A simple ball over the top, and suddenly Falk was in. How? Why? Who cares? He doesn't. And so Richmond need an equalizer again after they just hauled themselves level less than 2 minutes prior. It's cliche to refer to high-scoring soccer games as a track meet. This one almost literally is. And here go Richmond again. And tons of room down the right, and into the middle it goes where it was swung on and missed. Still alive for Vignals, who blazes over the top. Defending optional, entertainment not. Edison Gonzalez did say this week, we told you early on in the game, he said, I don't think it's going to be a 1-0 game. His team are going to try to play. They have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. We're going to try to play. He said, I think it's going to be another 5 to 6 goal thriller. Well, he undershot that. We've had 9 goals so far. Still just the 1 goal in all the out-of-town games. That's North Carolina continuing to lead 1-0 against Knoxville. They're just before halftime in those other 4. That's Lawal using his great strength to spin and feed Cerritos. Cerritos. Harold Hansen with a ton of room. Hansen chose not to play the cross, and his teammates are baffled. Hansen goes to the corner, which you can understand, wanting to milk clock, but still a few minutes left. Hansen does appear to have won a throw down by the corner flag. There's a player down in the box for Fuego, so we'll have to see about that. This game right now is 1 goal shy of the all-time league record for total goals in a game. That's Qudus Lawal, who has stayed down. I don't like to see him holding his head since, of course, he had that collision and head injury a few weeks ago. So a game that has had very few injury stoppages. Hope that that's nothing serious for Qudus Lawal. To see him back up quickly. There's been one game in League One history that had a total of 10 goals. That was an absurd 5-5 game between Greenville and Tormenta last year. Being told there's going to be at least 5 minutes of stoppage time, so still time left for Richmond to grab another equalizer and equalize the all-time League One record. Right now, Fuego have a throw right next to that corner flag, right in front of the Red Army. Cerritos. Falk. Cox takes it back for Richmond. Loose ball pounced on by Cerritos, though. We're into those 5 minutes of Greenswell Growers stoppage time.
The officials have indicated 5 minutes, so that is 5 minutes.
And there's a free kick for Richmond, which they'll want to take quickly. Remember, the League One playoffs are here next week. You can catch all the action on ESPN Plus beginning October 20th, and the season concludes with that USL League One final November 5th on ESPN2. It'll be an exciting next few weeks on the ESPN platforms as this USL League One season will crown a champion. Suko aiming for Beckett Howell, but overshooting him, and Hansen uses his size to shield it out of play for a goal kick. Richmond led 2-0 in the opening half hour. They led 3-2 at half. They fell behind 4-3. They equalized at 4. Then they fell behind almost immediately again. And Fuego, minutes away. It would be their first win since July 22nd. That's Fuego's throw, and those seconds are ticking away. Jake Meekin was almost going to climb the stands to try to bring that ball back into play as fast as possible. That's exactly what Fuego want, earning this series of throw-ins. Now, almost an opportunity for Vasquez. Still might, but the whistle is blown. That won't count. Vasquez put it in the net, but he committed the foul previous. 3 minutes to go. Richmond desperate to avoid ending their season with a defeat. Meekum trying to put in a cross that spins and stays in play and is kept in play by Paul Lewis, who will wait as long as possible before picking it up. Lewis taking as much time as he can. You're supposed to get 15 seconds as a goalkeeper. Lewis exceeded that. And now a free kick for Richmond. 2 minutes to go. Not Lewis's fault, of course. Goalkeepers, it's their job to take as long as they can in situations like this. Suko, everybody forward for Richmond now. Might be their final attack of the season. Meekum. Working his way into the middle. Good back heel. Meekum on target. But there's Paul Lewis. And we'll see if there's another chance in this for Richmond. 90 seconds left. Player down for Central Valley. Had a couple stoppage time injury pauses. That was Vasquez, who was down on a knee for a second, so we might have a little bit more beyond the additional 5 minutes. That'll be up to Amin Hadzik. Vasquez has to go off for treatment since he went down to a knee, so Fuego do have to temporarily play with 10 for at least a handful of seconds. Ball dropped for Lewis. Booted as far down the pitch as he can. Only Lawal up for Central Valley. And Cerritos charging in. Cerritos, that sliding challenge. It's a throw for Richmond. Who have to go for it now. Chandler O'Dwyer, who gave them the lead in the 9th minute. Meekum. He bends it into the box, but over everyone for now. Hooked away acrobatically by Lemus. Taken down by Vignals. We've had the 5 minutes. We play on. Cox trying to get on the end of it. Chops it back. It's down for Nicholas Simmons. Simmons trying to put it into the mix. It wouldn't get through that wall of white bodies, white shirts. And Qudis Lawal can shield it off by the midway line. Central Valley almost there. Flag goes up. It is a throw for Central Valley. And it was 1 blow of the whistle, not 3, so the game's still not over yet. Fuego in no hurry. Late throw for Richmond. Is there still time for one more attack for them? Suko. Meekum. Being told there will be 1 more minute to play. So we'll have a total of 7 added on. And that is not a free kick. That is the final whistle. It's over. And the season ends for both these clubs. For Central Valley Fuego, a great end to a difficult season. They close the campaign by snapping their 14-match winless run and tasting victory for the first time since July 22nd. For Richmond, the year ends winless after July 1st. Darren Sawatsky will look to reload for 2024. Both clubs will now rest and reload and look ahead to much better things next season and beyond. But for tonight, it's Central Valley in front of another terrifically supportive crowd at City Stadium, defeating Richmond in a memorable one by 5-4. Chandler O'Dwyer will be our Richmond Kickers man of the match tonight, scoring that opening goal. The Kiter CPA man of the match in the 9th minute. He was also involved in that second goal. Didn't officially get the assist, but made the initial contact that led to their second in the 26th minute. At Richmond, who had the lead at 2-0 and 3-2, had it slip away in the second half, and Central Valley showed a taste of what they're capable of, especially in an attacking sense. A team that struggled to score for most of the year, but started to score more late on and saved their best performance from an attacking sense for last. That was the save of the match presented by Impossible Pups, as that shot from outside the box by Sharif Dye, forcing that out of Akira Fitzgerald. Tough night for the keepers. Not a lot they could do on most of the goals that were scored tonight. There were only a couple saves to choose from, but a lot of excellent finishes, a couple of own goals, and one that appeared to go straight in from a corner. Quite a night. The last night of 2023 for these two sides. One more segment for us to wrap things up from City Stadium. Lots of highlights to get to and lots of things to wrap up this season for these two clubs. It ends Central Valley 5, Richmond 4. More in a moment.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of the many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with the provider today.
Hi, I'm Megan Mack, President of Prospect Blue.
And I'm Jess Barnes, Director of Business Development at Prospect Blue.
Prospect Blue is a staffing and recruiting firm headquartered right here in Richmond, Virginia. We serve the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond.
With the labor market experiencing historic shortages, Prospect Blue is here to help companies attract and retain key talent.
With strong relationships in the corporate, financial, legal, and medical fields, we are in a unique position to connect employers with job seekers.
It's a crowded highlights package from this one between Richmond and Central Valley tonight. It started in the 9th minute. Richmond taking the lead. Chandler O'Dwyer flicking home that near post corner after it was delivered by Michael Hornsby. And Richmond were off and running. And in the 26th minute, it would be 2-0. Almost the same goal. This time cleared off the line, but it fell to Simon Fitch, who finished to make it 2-0 in the 26th minute as Fuego struggled to defend corners all night, but Zahir Vasquez didn't struggle here. What a strike with that left foot after juking with his right, chopping onto his left. Perfect finish off the base of that post and in, and that brought Fuego into the game. They didn't have many attacks in the opening half hour. They'd have plenty after that. This one deflected home in the 42nd minute. Great combination between Dye and Cromwell, whose shot was deflected in by Justin Suko for an own goal. But then, just a minute later, a penalty given, as Neil Vignals stepped up and buried it subsequently, and it was 3-2 Richmond at halftime. But in the opening minute of the second half, look at this finish from Sharif Dye, gorgeously bending that in with his right foot. Nothing Akira Fitzgerald could do. It was 3-3. And then in the 70th minute, Harold Hansen at the second attempt able to toe poke that home after Richmond just could not deal with that corner. Richmond would equalize at 4, but then Victor Falk straight up the pitch from a simple ball over the top, ran onto the end of it, finished deftly, and that was the winner. Fuego outlasting Richmond 5-4. 16 shots for Richmond, 14 for Fuego. Possession pretty even at 53-47. Pretty cleanly played match as well. Just one yellow card either way. And refereed well, I think, by Amin Hadzik, who was able to let play flow and let these two teams go at each other in the way they did. Hugely entertaining from a neutral standpoint. Entertaining if you're a Fuego fan, of course. And for Richmond, tough end to a tough year, but they figure to be back and much better next season. It's been a great year at City Stadium. Terrific fan support all year long. We certainly expect that to continue. We'll look forward to watching the Kickers at home next year. For Fuego, lots of exciting things. Not announced yet, but lots of exciting things in the works, they say, and we'll look forward to hearing more on that shortly. For our great production crew, I'm Donnie Barnes. Good night from Richmond, where it ended Central Valley Fuego 5, Richmond Kickers 4.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.